Should we hold on tight or let go? In this video, I'm going to delve right into the heart of our relationships, and I'll ask, do we need to stay attached, or is there wisdom in spiritual ideas about non-attachment? A recent commenter on one of my videos said, I love the Buddhist approach, but I get confused being told that attachment leads to suffering, and also that I have attachment needs in relationships. I am no expert in Buddhism or meditation, but I do have expertise in relationships, and I'm fascinated at how relationships can express themselves in different cultures, the things that can be different and the things that we all share in common. So let's dive in, and I would love to know what you think, so please do leave a comment and share your perspective on this issue. Now let's talk about what attachment means. One of the reasons this is so confusing is because both Buddhism and contemporary psychology use the word attachment, but they use it to refer to different things. In Buddhism, attachment is our tendency to cling to people, to things, and to ideas in the hope that they will bring us lasting happiness. This clinging can bring a temporary sense of security or happiness, but it inevitably leads to suffering because everything is impermanent. In contemporary psychology, attachment refers to the quality of the emotional bonds we have in our closest relationships. Attachment theory sees human beings as having an inherent drive to form close emotional bonds. We're as much driven to connect with each other as we are to seek food and meet our basic needs. Our capacity for loving, caring, cooperative relationships is seen as key to the survival of our species. So who is right and who is wrong? Let's think about what the Buddhist approach is actually saying. Contrary to what some might think, non-attachment in Buddhism is not about not caring or being indifferent. It's actually about living and connecting more fully and more deeply. By freeing us from our aversions and our desires, non-attachment allows us to love others and accept circumstances as they are, rather than as we wish they would be. This actually allows us to live and to love with greater wisdom and greater compassion. Now, this all sounds wonderful, but what does it actually mean in the real world? Let me share an example from my own relationship. My partner is kind and he is considerate, but he is precisely 0% sentimental. He will never buy me a romantic gift or make a romantic gesture. It's just not his style. He will do things like buy me an AirTag because I keep losing my keys. If I clung to the idea that a close relationship needed to involve these kind of romantic gestures, if I took that as a measure of meaningfulness in our relationship, I could mistake him for not caring or not being invested. I could even see his buying me an AirTag as a little bit of an insult. I could even imagine that he cares less about me than he actually does. But if I want to love him, I need to love him as he is. I need to appreciate his loyalty, his pragmatism, and his problem-solving skills. I hope this gives a really simple demonstration of what non-attachment actually means. It's recognizing the difference between expectations and reality, choosing to love and accept life as it is, rather than clinging to how we think it should be. By practicing non-attachment, we can have more freedom, we can love more deeply, we can accept our partners, ourselves, our relationships as they are, rather than trying to squeeze them into our preconceived notions of what they ought to be. Practicing non-attachment also helps with the everyday challenges of ordinary human relationships. Imagine your partner comes home from work and they're clearly not in the best of moods. You could get attached to the idea that they're inherently grumpy, that they're just a bad-tempered person, and you could get geared up to give them a piece of your mind, to set some boundaries and tell them what you expect in your relationship. But if you can get unattached from the idea that your partner is inherently bad-tempered and has set out to ruin your evening, you could actually recognize that your partner may be having a bad day. Rather than responding with frustration and anger, you might respond with gentleness, asking how they are, offering a hug, or asking them how you might support them. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not suggesting that non-attachment means you tolerate abusive or hurtful behavior in your relationships. Non-attachment can also be very helpful if you are facing an abusive or hurtful relationship, not because it makes you indifferent or cold, but because it helps you to care more deeply for yourself. It can free you from the ideas and the emotions that may be keeping you stuck in an abusive relationship. It can help you to recognize that clinging to this relationship, or to the idea that one day it will get better, when all past experience says otherwise, is actually causing you incredible suffering. It can free you from the idea that no one else would ever love you, or that you couldn't cope outside of this relationship. It can free you from the sense of shame that you may feel that other people would judge you if you were to tell them what was going on. This can give you the courage, the strength, and the compassion to take better care of yourself, and even to leave a relationship or a situation which is causing you or other people great suffering. So what about a more psychological perspective? Well, just like in Buddhism, non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or not caring. In contemporary psychology, the idea of a healthy attachment relationship isn't one in which two people are always together or perfectly in tune with each other or endlessly happy. Here's some science for you. When researchers looked at the quality of interactions between mothers and babies who were assessed as having healthy, secure attachment, they found that the mothers were attuned to their babies approximately, wait for it, 30% of the time. Healthy attachment isn't about being perfectly attuned. It's not about recognizing every emotion and always responding to the other person's needs. In a healthy relationship, there's room for difference. There's room for conflict. There's room for difficult feelings. A couple who is securely attached can have a conflict, can disagree, can express difficult feelings to each other, even about each other, in the confidence that they can also repair and reconnect in their relationship. Their relationship and their closeness is not threatened by difference or disagreement. So spirituality versus contemporary psychology, which one's right and which one's wrong? Both paths can enhance our ability to connect deeply, to love and care for each other, to enjoy closeness and intimacy in our relationships. Both paths also enhance our ability to exercise autonomy, to cope with conflict, to experience differences in relationships, perhaps to make difficult decisions about relationships that are not working for us. As human beings, we probably all lean a little bit more to one side than the other, a little more towards connection, closeness, and intimacy, or a little more towards difference, autonomy, and freedom. Understanding that both of these qualities are necessary in a healthy relationship can really help to navigate those tensions. And where one partner emphasizes spirituality and non-attachment, and the other is emphasizing attachment, check out this video.